Hello, lovelies. Welcome to our journey into buying a manufactured home. On this particular video, we're going to be talking about getting our current house ready for sale. So, as I mentioned in my last video, my sister, who's a real estate agent, she assisted us in this process. So she came over to the house and evaluated the house and told us what we needed to do to get it ready for sale. So basically what she said was we needed to paint every room in the house, painted a neutral color so that it could be more appealing to buyers. And she also told us to depersonalize the house so that anyone can see themselves living in the house. So we had to take down pictures and everything. Well, we had to take down the pictures off the wall in order to patch up the holes and paint it. So when we did that process, we didn't put anything back up on the walls when we listed the house for sale. So what we did before we hired a contractor, we decluttered and got rid of a lot of our stuff because our current home was 1,900 square feet and our new manufactured home was about 1,450 square feet. So we are dealing with less square footage. And in our townhouse, when my daughter moved, I used her bedroom as my walk-in closet. I love that closet, let me tell you. So her entire bedroom was my walk-in closet, and I used the existing closet as my shoe closet. So the existing closet, I had all my shoes in there. I had my husband, he had put different shelves in there. So I had like 6 shelves in there, and I probably could keep about 10 pairs of shoes on each shelf. So I had a lot of shoes. I had a lot of clothes. So the funny thing was that when I initially turned that bedroom into my closet, I was still working. So of course I had clothes, but I retired probably about a year and a half after I created my masterpiece of a closet, right? So we had that closet for about 3 years before we decided to venture on this new life for us. So I had to declutter and had to get rid of a lot of that stuff. So, as we were going through COVID and everything, a lot of that stuff I wasn't even wearing because I didn't have it anywhere to wear it to. So a lot of that stuff was sitting in the closet. A lot of stuff that we had stored up in the attic, it was out of sight, out of mind. So I looked at it this way. If we hadn't used it in 3 years plus, then obviously we don't have a need for it. So it was a major project that we had to undertake in order to prepare for our new lifestyle, because what we didn't want to do was take with us stuff that we weren't going to use or didn't have a purpose for us anymore. Some things you outgrow. So that was our case. So we went room by room and we made an honest observation on stuff that we really needed. Not stuff that we wanted, but stuff that we really needed. So like I said, we downsized and got rid of a lot of stuff. So we have bulky trash and Purple Heart on repeat. They will come to our house every Tuesday for about 6 weeks. And each week we would put out stuff for those 2 respective places, some for bulky trash and some for Purple Heart. And so that really helped us to downsize the stuff that we had, right? Because we're trying to live a minimalist lifestyle now, right? Trying to. So after we decluttered and downsized our stuff, then we met with the contractor. And so he came out and evaluated what we wanted. And we told him that we wanted to paint the entire house. And in addition to that, in the winter, I think it was in December, it was like the coldest day of the year. People's pipes were bursting left and right. we experienced a burst pipe, but it wasn't because of the cold temperatures. The pipe to our washing machine had burst. So as a result, the ceiling in our dining room was leaking, and we was like, where's this water coming from? Anywho, we determined that it was coming from the washing machine. So we had a plumber come out. They burst a hole in the ceiling, but they were able to fix the pipe. So in addition to having our house painted, we had to get the ceiling drywall back in. So that was an additional expense. Also, in the powder room that we had years ago, probably about 10 or 11 years prior to now, that bathroom had sprung a leak from its piping. So we, considering ourselves DIYers, we took the ceiling down. However, we couldn't repair the plumbing. So we hired a plumber. They fixed that issue, but we decided not to re-drywall it because, again, it had a lot of pipes in from the upstairs bathroom. So we didn't want to close in the ceiling with drywall and experience another leak. So we put in a drop ceiling in that bathroom. So when we decided to sell, we decided to put the drywall ceiling back in. So we had 2 drywall ceilings in addition to painting the whole house. And so we met with him. We've dealt with him before. He came and did work at our house plenty of times. And so then we asked, he assessed the situation, and he said he would provide us with a quote within 24 hours. So we were waiting for the quote. And so then he texted us the quote, and he said that it would cost $16,500. So I'm like, $16,500? Are you serious? I had initially budgeted, estimated $10,000. Okay, that was the budget, 10,000. So in order to make that happen, we had to come to the conclusion that some of the painting we would have to do ourselves. So I talked to the contractor and told him what our dilemma was. And so I said, we taking this off, this room off, until we got down to that 10,000, as close to $10,000 as possible. And I think we got down to like 11,500. So the rest, some of the rooms we had to paint. And it worked out. Me, my husband, and our son, we went and painted the rest of the rooms in the house, and it was good. It was good. Yes, ours took longer to do than the contracting company, even though we had the same amount of people, but those are professionals. So we prayed about it, and that's the thing. I believe in taking everything to God in prayer. Consult him first before you do or say anything. That helps take away the stress. That helps to let you know if you're on the right track and everything. So we prayed about it individually and well as a family. And the funny thing is that in our neighborhood, we saw houses that were, over the years, we would see houses be put up for sale, and then they would be snatched off, taken off the market, and the homeowner will wind up renting their house out for whatever reason. They couldn't sell. Now we lived in a townhouse community, and for whatever reason, we have HOAs that we have to pay monthly, and we were delinquent. We had a delinquent status. So as a result, a certain percentage prevents anyone from obtaining a FHA loan if you at a certain percentage. And we were at that percentage. So any new prospective homeowners could not get an FHA loan. The only thing that they could get was a conventional loan. And from my understanding, the difference is with the FHA loan, you have less out-of-pocket money, less down payment, less closing. Whereas conventional, you have a higher down payment and a higher closing. So that's why more people are geared towards going for an FHA. So it makes the qualification a little more cumbersome, right? So that was a reason why a lot of the houses that were going up on the market not being able to sell. So, but what we had saw before we had decided to put the house on the market, around the time we had purchased the land, we saw two houses go up for sale and they sold very quickly. So that was promising for us. So while we were, and I was telling my husband, I said, this is the season, like the song, this my season to be blessed. And I said, we have to go for it because the market at this time is kind of fickle, where because of the economy and everything. So I said, this is our window, so we have to go for it. And so while we were getting our house ready, another house came on the market and it sold rather quickly. And I was like, wow, this is very promising. So I think in all, the time that we were getting our house ready and to put on the market, 4 houses that came up for sale and they sold. And so after we finished getting our house together and everything, and my sister came through to give it the white glove treatment to make sure everything was in place. And let me tell you, that was a very stressful time because we had to keep the house in pristine condition because you didn't know when somebody was going to come out to look at the house. And when they come over, you have to be gone. You have to leave the house. So that was stressful. I mean, yes, they give you some warning. They call and make an appointment. And so that somebody's coming over in 30 minutes. I think we had opted for at least 60 minutes notice, right? And so our house went on the market on April 14th. We had a soft opening on April 12th, which was a Wednesday. And so when my sister put the soft opening up, the only thing you saw was the front of the house. That was it, no pictures. Because on that Thursday, that's when the photographer came over and took pictures of the house. And then she uploaded it on Friday. And she had scheduled an open house both for that Saturday and Sunday. So anywho, like I said, we had a soft opening on the Wednesday. And I was over my mother's house and my sister was there. And she got a call from a prospective buyer. And so the lady said she saw the house and she's interested. And I'm like, well, she didn't see the house. She only saw the front of the house. She don't know what it looked like on the inside. So she scheduled a meeting for that Friday to view the house. She came over, fell in love with the house. She wanted to put in an offer that Friday. So my sister said, well, I've already scheduled an open house for Saturday and Sunday, so I have to honor that. I can't cancel it. I have to honor that. So Saturday and Sunday, we had to leave the house for the open house. And it was funny because the open house started at 12. And so while we getting ourselves together to leave out the house, somebody come ringing the doorbell at 10 a.m. It was somebody that wanted to look at the house. They had heard about the open house. So I told them, well, the open house doesn't start till noon. So if you could please come back then. These people was interested because they got back at 10 minutes to 12 and they just sat in the parking lot and waited to 12 o'clock until we left. And so we left out the house. My sister was there, to greet them and everything. And she said the open house went well. Probably about 8 different people came in, and probably about 3 of them that came in said they were interested. And the lady that came at 10 a.m., she wanted to put a contract on the house. But she was an older lady, older than me. And we were moving because of all them steps. And so my sister was like, you sure you want to, move here? All these steps, because she had problems. She had to walk up a flight of steps, then take a breath, and then walk up another set of steps, then take a breath. And she was only in the living room, dining room at that point. She hadn't even got to the bedroom level. So my sister's point of view was she didn't want her to buy that house and then later blame her for that decision. So she's working with that lady to find her something better. So the open house happened again on Sunday. And so the lady that saw the house come on online on the soft opening that put in that first offer on Friday, she was the one that purchased the house. And we were so excited. I was like, yes, yes, thank you, Jesus. Yes, Lord. I mean, it was awesome how fast the house sold. And I mean, how quickly it went. It was, I'm telling you, it wasn't nothing but a blessing from God. And we were so excited. So we was like, yay, we don't have to leave the house, you know. So she wasn't ready to move in until the beginning of June. So we was like, okay. And like I said, this was April 14th when she put in the offer, and it was accepted on April 14th, 15th, April 17th. So anywho, during that time, so we was like, okay, now we need to find some place to live temporarily when we moved to Pennsylvania. So I went to apartments.com to look for short-term leases. So, you know, you put in your criteria and everything, and you tell the area you want to live in, what type of apartment, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, wash and dryer inside the apartment, you know, AC, all that stuff, and how long you want it. So I initially put in for 6 months, not knowing how long it would take for them to build the house once we put the contract on. And so we went came back up to Pennsylvania in April. And so we went to the apartments that apartment.com sent back to us and said, this meets your criteria, right? And so we like, oh, wow, we like these, right? So we set up an appointment and we went into the rental office and everything and said, hey, we here, we looking for short-term leases. And they said, we don't do short-term leases. What? What do you mean you don't do short-term leases? Apartment.com said you do short-term leases. So after I got my chin off the ground, the gentleman in the rental office told us about another location that had short-term leases. And fortunately, it was just across the street. So we went over there and investigated. The property looked nice, and the young lady was nice, and she was able to show us a unit while we were there. So we went and looked at the unit. It was a 2 bedroom, 1 bath, had a flight of steps in it, and washer and dryer. So it was just what we needed. I mean, because basically we was just looking for a place to stay while the manufactured home was being put together, while the land was getting together, some place to keep our stuff. You know, we wasn't looking for anything fancy, schmancy, you know, with all the bells and whistles. So when we got back to the hotel, we went online and submitted an application, and it got approved. So we was like, okay, we are moving along. We got the land, we picked out our manufactured home, our house is sold, and we have a place to stay. So now let's go home and start packing. And let me tell you, that packing wore me out. Even though we downsized, decluttered, we still had a lot of stuff. And that was mainly because of my business that I do. Half of the stuff that we put on that truck was from my business. So, not to have this video too long, I think I will bring it to a close. Let me think if there was anything else that I wanted to discuss. That was basically it. I mean, the process of getting the house ready to sell, that took us about a month. The contractor took about 2 weeks, and we took about 2 weeks. I mean, the house sold so lickety quick, it just blew us away. Thank you, Jesus. And finding a place to live, temporary short-term lease, that went smoothly. And so now we was just doing the waiting game until it was time for us to move. You know, we started packing up everything, and we was ready to roll. We was ready to roll. So I think the next video I will discuss things that we did before we moved to Pennsylvania in regards to the land, as far as getting permits and finding a contractor to put the house together. So I think I'll cover that portion in the next video. All righty. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.